Welcome to the WellFuel Podcast, your spot for everything gut health, detox, hormones, a healthy home, mold, and everything in between. I'm your host, Isabel Smith. I'm an integrative and functional registered dietitian and the founder of Isabel Smith Nutrition. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the WellFuel Podcast. I'm going to do a short little soundbite episode here about where I am and my own certain recent discoveries in breast health and testosterone. And so about, 4 or 5 years ago, I had a ton of friends with breast cancer and I was, fair enough, super freaked out. So I went and I, did a series of mammograms and I found a lymph node that was deep back and, kind of closer to my armpit. That was a problem, potentially. Had a couple of mammograms, turned out it was just a sort of strangely placed lymph node, and we move on. In the process of that came my Lyme disease, came all the treatment I went through. I did exosome therapy, as I've talked about on other podcast episodes, and did full body scans, did parasite treatment, did mitochondrial support, gut health, blah, 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 blah. Along the way, allergies disappeared. That's what happens when you do the work, which is super freaking cool. So I'm like living my best life and like, you know what? I don't have any food allergies anymore. I'm going to eat whatever I want. Keep in mind that I've had food allergies since I was a child. As a little girl, I had allergies to red foods, beets, strawberries, like deep polyphenol rich foods. I'd get hives. Okay. So that was like, maybe call it like ages, 1 to probably 6. I also had an egg allergy, hives and asthma from eggs. So I was like an asthmatic kid, hivey. Okay. No gut issues, probably a ton of gut issues. I should rewind if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, but like no gut symptoms. Okay. So then around age 8 or 9, I got lactose intolerance. I remember vividly eating a sugar cookie in Lake Placid on a boat at age 11 and feeling like I was going to poop in my pants. I made it to the bathroom, but it was a close call. So I think lactose intolerance came around kind of around there, but I had a milk protein allergy as an infant. They fed me soy milk, which is what they did in the 80s. No bueno, you don't do that. If somebody has a milk protein allergy, you don't give them soy milk. They can look like the same protein structure molecule. Okay. So again, I've been somebody with food allergies for a long time. I went gluten-free somewhere in my mid-teens, right around when I had my period. Actually, thinking back in time, I'm thinking in my brain right now, I believe I wasn't gluten-free, was having pretty bad PMDD symptoms, like pretty massive water weight swings, like boobs really swollen, really bad symptoms. Then I think I lost my period. I went gluten-free somewhere along the way there, was put on birth control like most people were at that point in time. Was on birth control through college, was still gluten-free, was dairy-free, probably my mid-teens on. And I went off my birth control at age 22, went back on at age 24, got an IUD at age 26, maybe 27, had it removed at age 34. So, am I ever really like completely off of birth control and also kind of eating what I want? Answer is no, until recently. So remember I told you that I had that, mammogram situation about 4 years ago. And she said, you're clear till you're 40. So in the last 6 months, in the last year, I'd started dabbling with gluten, added dairy back. In the last probably 3 to 4 months, I'd started having more pain in that area, really bad pain. Was awake at night with really bad breast pain, was really freaked out about it. Do I have breast cancer? Do I have what's happening? So I went, God bless my beautiful, wonderful radiologist. I texted her, she got me in, we checked it out, tons of cysts in my breasts. Concurrently, my testosterone was starting to climb last year. So I did some research. I looked around. Turns out, cysts can be on ovaries, cysts can be in breasts. And it turns out I know what they do in ovaries, but I hadn't really thought much about it breast-wise. Ovaries can secrete testosterone, turns out in the breasts too. Along the way, my back has been like sandpaper since I got off of the antibiotics last May. Really, I've had like tons of facials done, a lot of exfoliation, not like cystic pimples, but just like weird congestion, just like weird stuff. So after I got my most recent blood work back, my testosterone was even higher. Not high, but like higher. I was like, okay, something needs to give here. So I'm about a month into going back to being gluten-free. I started eating eggs for a while, was getting super sore and kind of swollen again, cut them out. Everything is better in that department, able to exercise recovery, no problems. And have since this whole weird kind of, breast cyst thing, started taking saw palmetto, supporting with like nettle and quercetin and other stuff, and doing a little bit of broccoli extract for some supportive estrogen detox. And I'm getting towards like kind of the back half of my cycle, and I'm not feeling, my boobs weren't getting like super water swollen, but they were just getting this like weird, like cysts. The cysts were like, fuller, and I could feel it. So this is the first month I'm doing this. But, I was reflecting on this yesterday, and it's definitely more difficult when you can eat everything to like make choices to like eat well. This is like a whole new perspective for me, because I haven't had the luxury of being able to like, eat this and that as long as I can remember. And so now that I can, I see why it's so difficult for people who like don't have food allergies or don't have this or don't have that to like make the priority to change what they're eating, because I'm asking them to. So it's, perspective is everything. So I'm back on my gluten-freeness. What's cool about that is that I used to feel really crummy when I used to eat gluten-free bread. We rewind a while back. Now it's not a problem. I'm eating like a full avocado in the morning on my gluten-free toast. I've been eating this like the Seed Company toast. It's actually pretty good. I get it on Fresh Direct for those of you guys in the New York metropolitan area. Full avocado. Was also consuming like beef protein, like beef protein, hydrolyzed like beef protein. And I think that was inflaming me. I have a history of SIRS, so I like switched my smoothies in the morning to fully vegan. I've been using Sprouted Living protein powder, which I really love, the Epic one. People are super mixed on their tolerance for like kind of gritty protein. And I feel so much better. I feel like my back is actually getting better for the first time in a year and a half. So that's cool. I guess it's not a year and a half. I guess it's less than a year and a half, but definitely finally improving. So that's really cool. My skin's been really great. I use Clear Stem, which I love. We have a discount code if you enter Isabel Smith, all one word, at checkout. We have a pretty good discount there. So if you haven't checked them out, love them. They're great for anti-aging. They're great for acne. I was feeling like I was getting wrinkly, which is why I went there, but that's a tangent. And I just wanted to take a second to reflect upon the challenges that are at hand, right? There's like always something. There's no free lunch, as my dad loves to say. There's always something. When you don't have food allergies, you're like, well, like, why wouldn't I eat sourdough bread? Or like, why wouldn't I eat that? Or like, if you don't get measurably like sick from it, you're like, why wouldn't I do that? I was eating yogurt every day. I was eating a bunch of cheese. I've like pretty much cut all that out, and I'm definitely less inflamed, and things are definitely feeling better. No surprise. I know better, but it's still when you can, and you can for the first time in your life. So for those of you guys out there who have like are healing your body, things are improving, or you have healed your body and things have improved, and this resonates with you, which is like, well, now I have more choices. So like, it feels a little bit more difficult. It is a little more difficult because in the past, you didn't really have the choice, like I didn't. And it was what it was. And now, as you hopefully have healed your body or healing your body, you're like, wow, like I can choose. And I don't even know what this podcast is going to be called. So by the time you guys listen, it will have figured out an episode name. But I just feel like, that deep sort of awareness of when we change things and then we see different outcomes, and being willing to really like take a step back and be like, I just changed this thing and now I need to maybe change it again. I was definitely bummed to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't be eating that. That was so fun. My body was clearly something was awry. I've always had sort of like a radar for it because my mom had terrible endometriosis, super conscious of the fact that I maybe could have gotten it as well. There is good research about the relationship between being gluten-free and that supporting, an endometriosis sort of, scenario. So I just feel super lucky that I, was gluten-free and have been gluten-free and dairy-free all this time. So though I dabbled a bit, I did kind of dial it back. And now, this is going to be the first full month that I'm, doing the things and eating the things or not eating the things and feeling a lot better. So we'll see. My current quest is to biohack my HRV because she tends to run a little on the low side. I was posting this morning on social media about how I've been on this, like, alongside the rest of these changes, not drinking alcohol. There's all these amazing non-alcoholic like wines and beers and beverages. And so I've been on that kick lately, and my HRV sadly behaves the same when I have alcoholic wine versus non-alcoholic wine, but I certainly am not hungover. So that's really nice. But, the deep awareness of like what's working, what's not working, what feels good, what doesn't feel good is definitely a nice place to be. So I hope something in this podcast episode resonates with you, and that, if you're in the place where you're healing, if you're not healing, get some different help or reach out. We do this kind of work all the time. But if you are healing or you're in a place where you don't have any sensitivities anymore, maybe this resonated with you. So have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in as always, and we will see you right here next time on the WellFuel Podcast. As always, thanks so much for listening to the WellFuel Podcast. We're so happy to have you. To make sure you don't miss a beat, please subscribe either on Apple or Spotify because we have tons of great content. If you want to make sure that you're up to date on everything we're doing in the business with our clients and new offers and all the things, make sure that you check us out at Isabel Smith Nutrition on Instagram and isabelsmithnutrition.com. See you guys soon.